Ever feel like your brain is playing tricks on you? Like you could have sworn you heard something, but turns out it was all in your head.
Happens to the best of us.
We get this. AI can have those moments too. And it's way more impactful than you might think.
Hmm.
Today's deep dive takes us to AI research, the cutting edge, where those super-powered AI systems that everyone's always talking about, the ones processing images, audio, text, all at once.
Yeah, the multimodal ones.
Exactly, those. They're facing a challenge, hallucinations. We're digging into a brand new research paper hot off the presses called The Curse of Multi-Modalities.
Catchy title.
Right. Don't worry, we're not going to get lost in the technical weeds or anything.
No jargon today.
Our mission is to uncover why this should matter to you and what it means for the future of AI. That's the mission. So what are we waiting for? Let's dive in.
Sounds good to me.
So we've got these AI systems, right?
LLMs, yeah.
LLMs doing amazing things, but they've got this kind of weird quirk.
It's more than a quirk, really. These hallucinations, they happen when an AI's output doesn't match up with the reality it was given. Like, imagine your AI assistant telling you to pack an umbrella cause it heard the word rain somewhere.
But it's actually sunny.
Beautiful sunny day outside. You'd be like, what is this thing talking about?
Exactly. It's not just about AI making mistakes. It's AI making mistakes that could have, like, real-world consequences.
Oh, absolutely. And the stakes get even higher when you start thinking about self-driving cars or medical diagnoses. A hallucination there
That's a big deal.
could be disastrous. So this research paper, it digs into why these hallucinations happen. Turns out there are two main culprits.
Ooh, a good old-fashioned whodunit.
Exactly.
I'm intrigued. What are these AI hallucination culprits?
Suspect number one, what the researchers call over-reliance on unimodal priors.
Unimodal what?
It's a mouthful, right? Think of it like this. Imagine you've only ever seen yellow bananas.
Okay, standard banana.
Right. And then one day you come across a black banana.
Whoa, what? Those exist.
They do. But you might be totally thrown off, right? Because your brain is so used to bananas being yellow.
I'd be questioning reality.
And that's kind of what's happening with these LLMs. They get stuck in their ways based on what they've seen before, even if they're looking at something totally new.
So it's like that saying, if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
100%. And just like we have different senses, AI has different modalities, you could say. Language, visual, and audio.
Multimodal, right.
Exactly. And depending on which one it relies on too heavily, you get different types of hallucinations.
Okay, I'm with you so far. But how does this actually play out, in the real world? Can you give me an example?
Sure, let's take language dominance. Imagine an LLM.
Which is just a fancy acronym for.
Large multimodal model, the type of AI we're talking about today.
Right.
So imagine this LLM is watching a video of finger skateboarding.
Okay, so the shoes are obviously on the person's fingers.
Exactly, but then it's asked, did you see shoes worn on feet in the video? Because it's so used to shoes being worn on feet, it might just say yes, completely ignoring the visual evidence.
Wow. That's a pretty big miss.
It is.
It's like it's filling in the blanks with its assumptions about the world instead of paying attention to what's right in front of it.
100%. That's the danger of unimodal priors. The AI gets so focused on one aspect of the data that it misses the bigger picture.
So it's not just about AI being smart. It's about AI being smart in the right way. It needs to be able to see the whole picture, not just the parts it's expecting to see. What about these other dominances? What happens when AI gets fixated on the other senses?
This can get even wilder. Let's take visual dominance. Think about a situation where there's a video of someone holding a hammer.
Okay, basic carpentry stuff.
But the audio is just peaceful birds chirping. Now, an AI with visual dominance might actually hear the sound of hammering.
What? Just because it sees the hammer?
Just because it sees the hammer, it completely ignores the audio information.
It's like those optical illusions that trick your brain into seeing something that's not really there. Except in this case, it's tricking its ears. What about audio dominance?
Audio dominance, just as misleading. Imagine a video of a sunny day.
Okay, picture perfect.
But the audio is a raging thunderstorm. An AI with audio dominance might just tell you, man, it's raining cats and dogs out there, completely ignoring the clear blue sky in the video.
Wow, so it's really just going off the audio.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. These LLMs can be easily fooled by their own strengths.
Yeah.
But you said there were two main culprits behind these hallucinations, right? What's the other one?
Yes. The second culprit, it's a bit more subtle, but just as important, spurious intermodality correlations. Essentially, it's where the AI starts connecting things that frequently appear together, even if there's no real link between them.
So it's like that saying, correlation does not equal causation.
100%. Here's a simple example. Imagine an AI that's been trained on tons of data where beaches and water always appear together.
Right.
It might mistakenly conclude that ANY image with water must also have a beach.
Even if it's like a lake.
Even if it's a picture of a lake, yeah. Or even a bathtub.
It's like that time I thought wearing my lucky socks helped my favorite team win. No actual connection, just a coincidence. But these AI correlations, those have real-world consequences.
Absolutely. And the researchers, they wanted to understand exactly how these LLMs were making these mistakes. So they created a special test.
Oh, put it to the test.
They called it CMM.
CML. Catchy. What does that stand for again?
The Curse of Multi-Modalities, same as the paper.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Silly me. So how does this CMM work? Is it like a giant obstacle course for AI?
In a way, yeah. CMM is designed to see if LLMs can correctly identify what's happening by showing them different combinations of images, audio, and text. Then it asks them simple yes or no questions about what they're seeing and hearing.
So give me an example. How would they test for those hallucinations?
Let's say you show the LLM an image of a cat wearing a hat.
Cute. Love it.
Right. But you play the sound of a dog barking in the background.
Okay, a little dissonance
Yes,
there.
exactly. Then you ask, do you see a dog wearing a hat in the image? This tests whether the LLM can distinguish between the visual information, the cat wearing a hat, and the audio information, the dog barking.
I get it. It's a way to pinpoint exactly where the AI is messing up. Is it getting tricked by the visuals, the audio, or the combination of the two?
You got it. CMM helps researchers identify which types of hallucinations are most common and how different LLMs perform, and, kind of under pressure.
So what did they find? Did the AI pass the test?
Well, the results were actually quite surprising and a little bit nuanced. It wasn't a simple pass or fail.
Ooh, I love a good plot twist. What surprised them?
One of the most interesting findings was that LLMs are actually really good at perceiving individual things. So if you show an AI a picture of a dog, it can usually tell you, yes, there's a dog in the image. They call this perception accuracy.
Okay, so basic identification isn't the issue. It's like they recognize the ingredients, but the recipe goes haywire somewhere along the way.
That's a great way to put it. And that's where things get tricky. While they're good at identifying individual elements, they're not so great at understanding how those elements relate to each other, especially when those unimodal priors and spurious correlations come into play. They're much worse at resisting those hallucinations. They call this hallucination resistance.
So high perception, low resistance. It's like they're great at memorizing facts, but not so great at critical thinking.
Exactly. And to make things even more interesting, the research found that not all LLMs hallucinate in the same way. Some are more prone to certain types of hallucinations than others, depending on how they were trained and the data they were fed.
So it's kind of like how we all have our own unique quirks and biases based on our experiences.
Precisely.
What kind of variations did they find? Like, were some LLMs more easily fooled than others?
They found a fascinating spectrum. Some were overconfident, saying yes to almost every question, even if the answer was obviously no.
Sounds like someone I know. Always so sure of themselves, even when they're way off base.
Right, while others were overly cautious, almost afraid to answer unless they were 100% certain. They'd probably say no to everything just to be on the safe side.
So there's a whole spectrum of AI personalities out there. The risk takers, the cautious ones, and everything in between.
It seems that way. And understanding these variations, it's essential for figuring out how to make AI more reliable in the real world.
This is all incredibly fascinating. But I have to ask, why should we care about AI hallucinations? It's interesting to think about, but does it really impact our everyday lives?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the answer is a resounding yes. As AI becomes more integrated into our daily lives, the potential consequences of these hallucinations, they become more and more significant.
Okay, I'm listening. Give me a real-world scenario where this could be a problem.
Imagine an AI-powered medical diagnosis tool.
Okay, so it's helping doctors make diagnoses.
Now, if this tool hallucinates a symptom based on a patient's, let's say, age or medical history, it could lead to a misdiagnosis.
And the wrong treatment.
and potentially harmful treatment. Or think about a self-driving car that swerves to avoid a pedestrian that isn't actually there.
Okay, those are some pretty serious examples. Suddenly, these AI hallucinations seem a lot less theoretical and a lot more real world.
Exactly. As AI systems take on more responsibility, the consequences of these errors become much, much more significant.
So what can we do about it? Is there a way to prevent these hallucinations from happening in the first place?
That's the big question researchers are grappling with. And this is a critical step in the right direction. By understanding how and why these hallucinations occur, researchers can start to develop more effective training methods and safeguards to, minimize these errors.
So knowledge is power. The more we understand about these hallucinations, the better equipped we'll be to address them.
Precisely.
Well, this has been an eye-opening deep dive so far. We've explored the fascinating world of AI hallucinations, from those unimodal priors and spurious correlations to the CMM benchmark and the surprising variations in AI personalities. But before we wrap things up, I'm curious, where do we go from here? What are the next steps in AI research?
That's a great question, and one that researchers around the world are exploring. There's still so much we don't know about AI, but that's what makes this field so exciting.
It's like we're exploring a vast new world, right? Untapped potential, but also, yikes, potential pitfalls.
Absolutely, and that's why understanding these hallucinations is so important. It's not about being afraid of AI.
Yeah, not at all.
It's about being informed, being discerning users. We need to understand the limitations of these technologies. Just like we wouldn't blindly trust any other tool without understanding how it works.
So true. So how do we do that? How do we become those informed users? Especially as AI just keeps getting, well, more powerful, more integrated into everything we do.
That's the question, isn't it? Part of it is, staying informed, just like you're doing right now, listening to this deep dive. The more you understand about how AI works, the better equipped you'll be to spot those potential issues.
So knowledge is power, even when it comes to AI.
100%. And as AI evolves, we need to make sure it's evolving in a direction that, benefits humanity.
That's a great point. It's not just about making AI smarter for the sake of smarter. It's about making it smarter in a way that aligns with our values, our goals. It's a continuous process, learning, adapting, refining.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And honestly, it's a fascinating journey, one that I'm, incredibly excited to be part of.
Me too.
Yeah.
And for everyone listening, we hope this deep dive has given you a glimpse into this world, this incredible world of AI, all its potential, but yeah, its challenges too.
It's a wild ride.
It really is. And remember, the future of AI, it isn't something that just happens to us.
It's not predetermined.
Right. It's something we shape. Every question we ask, every choice we make, every conversation we have. So to our listeners, stay curious, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on our next deep dive into the world of cutting-edge tech. Until then, keep those AI hallucinations in check.